Hello, my name is Mercedes Musto, host of FTCE Seminar, a Teacher Certification Podcast. My background as a classroom teacher brought me a wealth of experiences. My first year teaching was so challenging. But the thing was, at the time, these students were really plugged in with earbuds and headphones. And we as teachers were thinking, how do we get the students to remove their earbuds and headphones so we can teach them? And that was the first time I thought, what if there was a way I could teach them directly into their ears through the earbuds and headphones? And that's when I thought, podcast. Welcome to episode 18 of FTCE Seminar, a Teacher Certification Podcast. I love podcasts, and an educational podcast might be the solution. It's composed of like 3 separate tests. So you have your general knowledge test, your professional education exam, and your subject area exam. The way this pans out is typically a teacher candidate will come into this first part of the exam, the general knowledge exam, about 2 or 3 years into their degree. The thing is, the knowledge that you're being tested on with the general knowledge exam, you learned in high school. And typically with assessments, you'll take an assessment at the end of a course. Well, with this particular exam, there's been a 2 or 3 year gap between the time you learn the information and the time you're testing on it. And that's why I approached creating an exam prep podcast for this exact purpose. Podcasts are great for reinforcing content knowledge. They can also be used for introducing new knowledge, but research shows that being able to listen to a podcast repetitively in micro bursts, that means 10 minutes or less of a particular concept, reinforces your knowledge of that concept. When you can flight that concept repetitively over 10 minutes or less, then you can gain a clearer understanding and prepare for your test. With FTCE Seminar, we take each concept and place it into a micro-learning strategy, and then we make a podcast that's 10 minutes or less reviewing that concept. So when you take a diagnostic test before you take your FTCE Seminar and find out where your strengths are and your areas for improvement, then you would go into the podcast and say, well, I'm having a really hard time understanding the concept of probability. You would simply listen to exactly that episode about probability and refresh your memory. Now, the other thing with the FTCE Seminar structure is that unlike other podcasts, FTCE Seminar is created using the ARCS model theoretical framework. This is not as common with other podcasts, and it's something that we've studied at FTCE Seminar, is when you apply a theoretical framework in the design of your podcast, it increases both the credibility of the podcast and the constitution of the knowledge. Therefore, when you listen to these podcasts, when it's with microlearning and created under an ARCS model motivational framework, you're going to remember the knowledge better, improve your performance, and improve your motivation to study for the overall test. You're going to walk into that test feeling a lot more confident, a lot more satisfied with your knowledge base, and as a result, you're going to pass the test. Exam prep podcasts are not particularly popular at this moment, but last May we decided to explore this area, how to make exam materials in an audio-based form so that you can listen while you're multitasking or however. The thing is, this experiment started last May, and I remember when we got our first 100 listens. Now we're well over 2,000 listens. We're on our 40th episode, and the most amazing thing is that this podcast was created for teacher certification, particularly for teacher candidates in Florida. And now, not only has the podcast reached several universities in the state of Florida, but it's also reached 20 additional countries outside of the state of Florida. On our website, www.ftceseminar.com, we are actively getting feedback from teachers who are like, hey, how do I read my test scores? Where do I look for resources? Thank you for your motivational videos. One of our most popular videos right now is not even content related, which is interesting because in a survey I did among teacher candidates, we found out that it's not just content. It's also about how you feel when you take the test. It's about your test anxiety. It's about your motivation. It's about your self-belief. And one of our topics is overthinking. We released that on YouTube last night, and immediately it's like it's just starting to tick up. It goes to show you that there's more to testing, and there's something phenomenal about learning with a podcast. The FTCE Seminar is a teacher certification podcast. You can follow us on YouTube or Spotify or anywhere you get your favorite podcast players. The important thing is to start studying, and start studying today so you can pass the Florida Teacher Certification Exam. Well, what are you waiting for? Start studying, and start studying today with FTCE Seminar.
Oh, can you clap that again?
Spice Girls, take 2.